The Trade is brought to you by Vantage Markets, delivering one of Australia's most trusted and award-winning trading experiences. Explore smart trading at vantagemarkets.com.au.
Hello and welcome to The Trade. Well, before we get into the charts, let's take a look at what's making news at a macro level. A bid to end the US government shutdown failed in the Senate, while President Trump has withheld more than $2 billion in funding to Chicago and now has frozen at least $28 billion in funding for Democratic cities and states. On the data docket, US services sector activity stalled in September amid a sharp slowdown in new orders, while subdued employment added to mounting evidence of a sluggish labour market. On the geopolitical front, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said the war in Gaza has not yet ended, despite Israel and Hamas both agreeing to parts of President Trump's peace plan. And Japan's ruling party has chosen conservative Sanae Takachi as its leader, setting her up to become the country's first female prime minister. Meanwhile, US Treasury yields moved marginally higher in thin trading on Friday. The 2-year was at 3.58%, the 10-year at 4.12%. Let's get across the charts now and catch up with Louise Bedford from Trading Game. Louise, welcome back. Great to have you on the show as always. And as you do, we want to get into what's hot and what's not.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the markets. Things have been going gangbusters. So I want to present very hot areas for you today because I think they're the areas traders should be focused upon. So let's start by looking at the All Ords. Firstly, volatility is quite low, which is making it fairly easy to be able to get out of stocks without being whipsawed out and then up we go again. So that's a real plus for traders. If we have a look at my hot or not report at tradinggame.com.au/hot or not, you'll be able to delve into the 5 hot sectors, the 9 cold, and the 3 in limbo so that you can avoid those 9 cold in particular. So we have got all systems go for the All Ords currently.
All right, well, let's take a look at the next chart and perhaps focus on the top 20.
Yes. Well, with the top 20, interestingly, these are cold. So what this is saying that the strength has moved out of the top end of the market. And if we have a look at the next chart as well, which will be the top 100, we'll see that that is cold and the top 300 also. All 3 areas are showing that the money is being focused in the smaller caps. Everything under the top 300 is fair game at the moment, but let's put those blinkers on and bring that specificity into the markets with the ones that are really going gangbusters.
All right, so in other words, you're looking at the smaller end. Let's take a look.
Yes. Absolutely. So first of all, let's kick off with the small ordinaries. Look at that trend. Now, I know that it can be difficult buying at an all-time high, and I understand it can give you the heebie-jeebies as a trader, but have a look at the relative strength comparison here, that in the lower panel, the blue line is well above the moving average of that RSC, relative strength comparison indicator, and look at all of those green candles piled on top of one another. Now, we do not know where this is going. We have no idea because we cannot predict the future. However, that is what a good stop loss is for. You can buy in and be protected if you have a stop loss which will take you out of the market. So this is definitely one to focus on for this week.
Well, let's drill a little closer in then. Staying with the smalls, Louise, sector-wise, what are you seeing as hot at the moment?
Yeah, there's some exciting movement in the small industrials. Now, this is a beautiful little candle pattern. You know, I love my candle patterns there. So that final little candle pattern is a continuation pattern called the Rising 3, perfectly formed, absolutely lovely, with the relative strength comparison above its own moving average as well. So when we have a look at that entire picture, the small industrials is hot, hot, hot. And also, let's have a look at the small resources. So the small resources is displaying a very similar type of look. And this next chart that you pop up here will show that it is actually even hotter. Not only is the green candle all showing its dominance, but also there is a gap strategy here for this little small resources index. The RSI is going out of sight, and this is the area to be looking at for your trading dollar this week.
All right, Louise, that's what we're seeing on the local market. Now, let's head to Wall Street and what we're seeing, beginning with the S&P 500.
When we look at the S&P 500, we have got a beautiful bullish trend. We've got a series of higher highs and higher lows. We're above our moving average in the top panel of the chart. We're definitely outperforming the Australian market as well in terms of relative strength comparison, and at only 2.22% volatility. There's beautiful trading to be had here, but there is one area that is even hotter in the very next chart. The very next chart shows the NASDAQ. Now the NASDAQ is outperforming the S&P 500. In that lower panel, I've popped up a comparison between the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and we know that the S&P 500 is outperforming the All Ords. So this makes this area the hottest area for you to look at investing in things like index trades on the long side, or even a handy, lovely ETF. And at 2.59% volatility, historically, that's a very low level. So it should be quite an easy decision for this week about where to put your trading dollars.
Louise, you've done it again. Terrific to get across both the Australian and the US markets. Thanks so much for joining us from the Trading Game.
Such a pleasure.
And that is The Trade.
The Trade was brought to you by Vantage Markets, delivering one of Australia's most trusted and award-winning trading experiences. Explore smart trading at vantagemarkets.com.au.